Hello, everybody. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey. And today we're gonna look at the daily transit. The daily transit field um, about all the planets which are transiting in the moment and coloring our day, but also the whole week because Sun Earth will stay for the next 5.5 days. The nodes are for a long time, and so are the more distant planets, the outer planets, so-called Uranus, Saturn, um, and Jupiter and Neptune, Pluto. So this will be the transit for the next week. The Sun entered today in the 43rd gate, the breakthrough, the gate of insight, and is now in the first line, patience. And because the Earth is in the 23rd, together they make the channel of structuring, linking the throat center through the 23rd, the gate of the splitting apart, to the 43rd, and here we have the channel of expression of individual mind. Concepts are grasped as insights that have broken through gate 43rd, 43, breakthrough, and restructured and then expressed in the 23rd gate, called the channel of genius to freak, because their unusual perspective reflects an ability to hold to their own point of view, and at times to the exclusion of hearing or being affected by what others have to say about their ideas. So it's also the channel of deafness, and specifically the 43rd gate, because here we don't have the third eye. Here we're talking about actually the hearing. We're talking about the inner ear, hearing. The inner ear listens only to its own inner voice. This is the only possibility to transform the rationalized inner truth in an insight, in a unique perspective. The individual mental knowing, part of the circuit of knowing. And it is not backed up by facts and may be just a delusion. It takes a lot of strength, courage, fortitude to stand behind it. And the gates of possibility are the final shaping of an awareness. And once fully conceptualized, they await only access to the throat through the 23rd and manifestation. So it is very easy to manifest and to talk here, to try to structure, being part of the knowing circuit, linked to our sense of hearing. And the breakthrough is not to be confused with the so-called third eye or the sight in insight. It's just indeed an insight which breaks through, structuring something and in a new way, which means they've explained it and they understood it in a new way. And when they propose it to the outer world in a new way, then they've successfully mutated you, changed you, if they structured it in a new way. And here we have the sign in the first line, Mercury in the third, and Venus in the sixth line. Patience, expediency, and breakthrough. So the channel of structuring, it's implying a great range of possible insights and expressions. And just because a person expresses something is no guarantee that they have expressed it intelligibly. Often the freak appellation is the result of poor communication rather than faulty insight, or yet unstructured, not understood, or not expressed in a knowable way and in an acceptable, understandable, well-spoken, intelligible way. When the expression of those with this channel is grasped by others successfully, they're considered geniuses. And if not understood, they seem like freaks. And timing is a big thing here. We have the throat. The throat center is about communication, manifestation, materialization, contact with the exterior worlds, outlet for energy and expression, speaking and doing, and being in the right timing to express, whether you're with a defined or undefined throat. And anyone with this channel must learn two very important things: speech skills and patience. Speech skills to reach the audience, and because this is a projector channel, patience to wait for recognition. So they have an audience that is ready to hear what they have to say. And it is kind of individuality reaching out to the collective. And the 23rd gate, splitting apart the gate of assimilation, actually is also a gate which is an inclusive gate, a gate which recognizes the different and the outsider, and they include it because they're also part of the expression here of form, of spirit into form. So the ability of the knower is to empower others structurally. This channel is always structuring, and its ultimate gift is to make things more efficient. What you have to realize about these people is that they can explain to you how to be more efficient. They have been able to mutate you. The contribution with this channel is to bring us to enhance our acceptance of those who are different, and the role they play in transformation of our old order into the new forms and values. And it can be quite, when the timing is right, they can express so beautifully. I heard people express with this channel. Whoa, it's of course in combination with other things, but wow, it when they really understand and have seen it from different perspectives. And guess what? I mean, they will be structuring all their life, so they'll be getting better and better and better and better, and you're always going from insecurity to security, from unknowing to knowing, from unexperienced to experience. So the channel of structuring will have actually, and they're one of the bridges, because they're in opposition, one of the three oppositions, so you meet them often. So it means those are bridges. And here we talk about individuality bridging to the whole, the I-ness bridging to the whole, and being inclusive of all of these different expressions of I-ness, of expressions of individual insights. Yeah, it can be beautiful, but it's a projector channel, so hence they don't wait for the invitation, and we don't wait for the others to be ready to hear what we have to say and be invited. Can be quite some bitterness and the feeling of invisibility, and that the other doesn't understand, does not hear and listen, really listen. So we have now the first line, patience, and it's only in the detriment. So the recognition that new forms, no, sorry, only an impatience to enjoy the sweetness of accomplishment that inevitably leaves a sour taste in the mouth, a delight in the insight, but the lack of depth to establish it. So indeed, we start from the first line, patience, you have to wait to, from insecurity, get to a security, place of security. And in the next few days, we're going to go to the second line, dedication, the maintenance of specialized attitudes which promote breakthrough, unique mental habits, and the thought processes which promote insight. A dedication to action that, when actualization is insight, may become incautious. The urge for expression that will abandon its normal processes when opportunity arises. Then it will go to the third line, expediency, the powerful drive to regeneration that will, when breakthrough is threatened, use any means, align with any force, and endure with any condemnation to achieve the goal. A certainty in knowing which can withstand condemnation, and the detriment, an oversensitivity to condemnation that may preclude justified expediency and result in failure. Individual insight abundant in the face of condemnation. The fourth line, the one-track mind, the over-reliance and stubborn obsession with one's mental abilities in the face of recurring obstacles. The design-given mercurial mental gifts may, though rarely, succeed. A stubborn reliance on one's unique insights that demands focused mental ability to be properly conceptualized, and the detriment, a belief in inherent right action based on limited knowledge that shuns advice. The vanity to attempt expression without depth. Fifth line is called progression, the step-by-step adaptation to relationships which hinder breakthrough through practical actions which will not jeopardize eventual success. The gift is knowing when a unique insight can be shared with effectively with others. And the tendency to concentrate on harmonizing relationships that tend to strengthen the position of restrictive forces rather than benefiting breakthrough. An over-reliance on the receptivity of others that turns harmony into the conditioner of individual expression. The sixth line is finally called breakthrough. Actualization and centering in breakthrough naturally establish both internally and externally a new order, unique knowing that is both personally and collectively of value. An ego tendency in breakthrough sees justification of its lesser attributes and carries them over into the new order, where the value of knowing is more important than the other aspects of life. So breakthrough, in order for achievement to be maintained, the new order must be fairly established. That's what the I Ching says. And we have actually five yang lines and one yin line. The 43rd gate is right after the part of the quarter of mutation. The second gate of the quarter of mutation. Here it is. And here we have the first gate, which was last week. Oh, the moon just changed in fifth line. The pragmatist stands still, the gate of caution. Okay, so here the sun in the 43rd gate and the other two planets. And here we have 5 yang lines and 1 yin line. Channel of mutation. It's about transformation and purpose fulfilled through change and mutation, and a process of going to the end of something, to the end phase, and letting go, transcending eventually, or not, staying in the old order until it's time for something new, as gate third says, or the gate of order, the harmonic. Yeah. So we have also the 23rd gate in first line, splitting apart the gate of assimilation in this is where we're grounding the earth, proselytization, the attempt to undermine one set of values for another. The sage who in the extreme can defend evil as a part of the greater good. The powerful expression of an insight which will undermine established values. The missionary whose very light will bring darkness. The powerful expression of an insight which will produce negative effects. And if not invited, this will be, instead of for benefit, it will be for bitterness, because the detriment can also be of benefit. It depends on your strategy and authority, which will be correct, which expression, the exalted or the detrimental. Then we have the nodes in the first and the second gate, the receptive, intuition, first line, sensitivity to disharmony and atrophy, the importance of aesthetics, whether inborn or acquired, higher knowing through aesthetics. So these are direction in the future, the assertion of ego in spite of wisdom, the urge for action that will ignore the wisdom of the higher self, and the direction of the past, so the perspective as well. First line, creation is independent of will. It's the gate of expression, the gate of the creative. Time is everything. Self-expression, which has its special timing. Instability leads to distortion. Here, patience is a virtue and revolution is a vice. Creative, instability unless there is patience. A lot of patience in the air. We have also, by the way, standstill, the gate of caution, the moon, our perspective. So our driving force, what we see in detriment, the fifth line, the pragmatist, the success of restraint lies in not abandoning the lessons learned when the phase ends. But we have the tendency to remember only the most painful lessons learned. Caution, which is conditioned by the most painful social experiences. So you're a lot of caution in the air. And we also have the 12th gate again in Mars, the quite not immature energy, which is unleashed, ready to take over. But here it's in the standstill, the gate of caution in third line confession, the process of self-analysis, a perverse and often exaggerated self-hatred, inadequacies in social interaction that leads to the expression of self-hatred. And we also have the second gate in the fourth, in Uranus, the chaos, unusualness, innovation. In fourth line, the receptive, the gate of direction of the self, in secretiveness, more than modesty, the ability to persevere harmony through discretion. The higher goal transcends personal acclaim, the team player, acknowledged as the leader but never the captain, where higher knowing does not have to be expressed to be recognized, waiting for the opportunity. Loose lips sink ships. The unquenchable fire of the ego engenders an enmity, the inability to keep silent when the opportunity arises for expression. And higher knowing, waiting for the opportunity to express itself or not. So let's go back to Mercury. So we have again the 43rd gate. So we have it 3 times. In Mercury, the sun in the first gate, but also I already read the third. So it will be in the next 2 days will come the sun. Mercury is already here, so we're already experiencing the expediency and the powerful drive for regeneration that will when breakthrough is threatened, and an oversensitivity to condemnation. And then we have the 43rd in 6th line, exalted in Venus, our values and relating. In breakthrough, also I already read actualization and centering that naturally establish both internally and externally in a new order. And we have our values, law protection. These are our values in here, laws and protection. In the 25th gate, the gate of the spirit of the self, first line, selflessness, motiveless action, the universalization of activity, psychic attunement that is its own reward, the potential for centering through attunement to challenges, and detriment, a tendency to publicize one's selflessness, the insecurity of the self manifested in times of challenge. And when this innocence does not jump on the leg through the fire of shock and test back on its legs of innocence, which means being yourself, basically. So when you're not being yourself, when you're not following your strategy and authority, you're being punished with the 49th gate, the discipline and limitation, the gate of revolution, the gate of principles. So you're going to be punished in your principles, and the law of necessity. So where it's rejection and what your needs are. Revolution has no support unless it is perceived as necessary. So unless it's necessary and your needs here are being compromised, revolution will not be the appropriate action, and here you're going to be punished. Here we have the understanding and application of this law to maximize expansion of support and thereby ensure viability. The awareness that the potential of a principle is based on it being accepted as viable. The misuse of influence on the other side to insist that necessity can be created out of action. The helter-skelter syndrome to commit acts of disorder as proof that disorder exists. Oversensitivity to rejection that can turn a principle into a crusade. And it's so funny. I have this gate and it's in my design sun. I know that after it happens, you know? And I had recently such a situation where something was happening to me. Actually, it was cyber abuse. And people knowing my design really were misusing that information by saying that I was creating this helter-skelter. And it was not true, because I was actually being cyberbullied. And I raised my voice and I was hurt. And as a fifth line, I did quite a stir, and unexpected things happened. I was partially burnt on the stake, but this is the helter-skelter, yeah. It can sometimes get out of hand. I know, I've been there, done that, but that was not the case, and I was projected on anyways. So, but being limited here, it's, wow, quite a thing. So strategy and authority, friends, that's what protects you to go through any situation, basically, and staying true to yourself at the same time. Because this is the weather, that's why I'm doing the transit field, so that you know the weather and what to expect, so that you don't get caught in living it necessarily because it's in the air. You can feel it, you can also not feel it. It's about being open to eventually expand your view or not. Maybe it's not for you, but then you know what makes you moody today and melancholic. Hence, not only the sum, look how much individuality is here. So we have the this channel, the channel of structuring, and look, bam, 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 bam. We still didn't get there. 12 gate. So if you guys felt, especially since yesterday, and you'll see in a second why, this melancholy and this limitation somehow, and this feeling of heaviness, a little bit being down to earth, being bound to earth, and your flight, because we just came from the 61st gate, your flight up in the inner truth and searching somewhere up in the air, in this pressure, in this pressure center. Then suddenly we got dropped here with Pluto, and in a critical way with the gate of crisis, which is also there for quite some time, the darkening of the light, the rule of the cycles in which decline is a natural but not enduring state. Neptune is here, so we don't know exactly what's going on. It's behind the veil. First line resistance, the energy and determination to persevere in the face of opposition, the emotional power to handle crisis, an over-principled resistance that, rather than being selective in resistance and thus less at risk, will maintain normal patterns and incur opposition, a resistance to change that will always bring crisis. And the 60th gate Pluto just moved there yesterday, actually, here. No, on Thursday. Yeah, so yesterday, because today is Friday. So it was in the 61st gate and moved to the 60th gate, first line. And that's our truth, transformation, and psychology. And it will stay there until the 30th of January, 2025, when it enters in the 41st gate, first line, and thus setting the beginning of the new cycle, or preparing, mutating, finishing the mutation before The rave comes in 2027. The new raves are going to start being born in 2027. So again, this for the next 2.5 years, guys, or yeah, Pluto, the truth, transformation, and psychology will be in the gate of limitation, in the gate of acceptance. And limitation, it's about actually we have the third gate on the other side, the harmonic, and that's the gate of ordering. So we have chaos, and in every beginning there is some difficulty. That's why this gate is also called difficulty in the beginning. And in this chaos, in order to get into the order of the 30th gate, it has to be limited, this chaos, to one. We get conditioned by neutrinos one by one. We take them one by one. So the gate of limitation, this is what it does. It limits it so that only one thing gets on the other side, so that order actually is achieved. So this is the energy of limitation itself. This is the gate. It's a pulsating pressure to mutate. It's part of the knowing circuit in the experimental field where mutations can develop that may or may not be of benefit to the whole. This possibility of mutation is grounded in the release of limited amounts of energy. This limitation, the pulse, manifests as power bursts rather than sustained flows. Knowing is there and it is not. The mystery of music, as Miles Davis, the jazz composer, noted, is in the space between the notes. It is the space that mutation takes place. Acceptance of limitation in the heart of this process. Otherwise, this energy can manifest as chronic depression. So we have here in this 60th gate, it's connected to the cross of laws, the limitation, the distraction. But it's something, it's important to understand, it's something that fluctuates and cannot be controlled. It's what shows us how life is uncontrollable. Mutations just happen. And that's the truth. That's what we come to see now. And that's the transformation. That's the psychology of everything. Is at the end, we don't know. And maybe there is no change for a long time. And in the past years, we see how things are rapidly changing. And somehow we're in this huge carousel and it doesn't stop. And we're at some ending times, maybe. Who knows? According to human design, there are about 1,300 years more on Earth. So that's quite a long time. Anyway, so in the air, if you feel the melancholy and it started since yesterday and being limited, and we can expect things which will give us the possibility to maintain our inner harmony when confronted with external limitation, have restless energy, and maybe become even agitated from time to time from the restraints, to learn to live with them and get into the next phase eventually. We're approaching the new times, the new background frequency, which will be coming in the world. And it is already here. It is already here. The sleeping phoenix is already here. This new energy of being empowered to be who you are and to penetrate the new spirit, being busy with intimacy on the highest level, the one night stand, which is not a real promiscuity. No, it's the one night stand that never happens. Although we're in the first stage, so the third line here to experience, still it's with the echo of the role model. So it's about waking up the spirit, and it's so beautiful when you think about the rave. Waking up the spirit of the new form, being busy for yourself, to raise up as one, being awakened from the ashes of the old into a new penta. Something we've been striving for and never getting to, living in our dysfunctional pentas as humans. Getting to the times when the rave which will be born out of us being in our bodies, finishing this dream of ours. It's beautiful, actually. But we're not going to be here to see. Our kids will, so we can prepare them with this information. So you have a great week and great insights, breakthroughs. Listen to your inner ear. Listen to your inner voice. Maybe you hear some real awkward and innovative, strange, mutative, changeable, freaky, or just in tune with your inner knowing ideas and things. Whether to share or not is up to your strategy and authority. And that's your umbrella and your shining light, your inner possibility to get in tune or not. It might not be for you, but that's what we're going to be hearing around for sure. Quite some freaky ideas, quite melancholic. It's a projector day, a first line day. So investigative melancholy is in the air. Not knowing when to stand still and not revolutionize and put in crisis the innocence of the direction of the self expressed via limitation and acceptance to what is, and waking up to the individuality of and differentiation of each of us eventually, or not. Have great several days, fellow travelers, and talk to you soon. I'm Veronica from Human Design Journey, and I'll be on my way. Bye for now.